Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. And it's great to be here. And it's great to be here, too, joining everybody today. My name is Bryan Cohen. I'm the Worldwide Innovation Fellow from Pfizer. Basically, that means that my primary job is to talk to a lot of the brands, launch brands, established brands, brands that have small marketing budgets, brands that have $500 million marketing budgets, and get them to understand new technologies and new ways of thinking. So what I wanted to present to everybody today are some of the things that we're going through at Pfizer, some of the things that we're thinking about, and challenges that we have, because a lot of times people will think that a big pharmaceutical company, we must be, really pushing the envelope, tip of the spear, or whatever other cliche, but we struggle with a lot of things when it comes to some of the things that Neil was talking about, social media, mobile, and we're still trying to figure out exactly the right fit. So I want to talk a little bit about that today, but also a little bit of background and how we emerged to this final point of patient power. My background, just so you know, which nobody will care, I went to school, I graduated from somewhere, and I've been in content management and pharma for 5 years, done. Right? Legal mumbo jumbo, I got to do this, sorry, but basically everything I'm about to say is my opinion and my opinion only, and doesn't mean Pfizer's doing anything that I'm talking about or that we're committing to doing anything that I'm talking about. So let's talk a little bit, I want to kind of build the case here and talk a bit about technology and social change, because really our entire social construct has been transformed by information. And it isn't something, a lot of people when they think about information technology and development, they really only think about the last few years. We think we're living in an information revolution now, but we're really not. The road has been happening really over the last 300 years. In the 1600s, you have the rise of literacy, right? Before that time, books and everything were completely controlled usually by churches and by the state. Only the higher level people were really the ones who were well read. As we get into the late 1600s, you start to get into the Age of Enlightenment and you get into the 1700s. We now begin to have information traffic jams happening. And by that I mean you have not only books, you have pamphlets, you have newspapers. At one time in my hometown of Philadelphia, there were something like 33 different newspapers in a town that had only about 150,000 people. So you get a tremendous amount of information just by being able to print cheaply. The result of that, the result of the 1600s, you had the Age of Enlightenment. The result of the 1700s, something like Thomas Paine's Common Sense. So every single time we get a revolutionary technology that comes out, we get huge things that break the mold, that break the social mold, that break the government mold, that make people think in a different way and make people behave in a different way. In the 1800s, we had the first information highway, and by that I mean something like the Pony Express, right? To be able to get mail from one side of the country to the other in a matter of a couple of weeks was revolutionary. You get into the later part of the century and you have transportation now. We have the Intercontinental Railroad. The result of that starts to become regulations, copyrights, protections over content, right? Because things are now able to be mobile and are also able to be copied. Corporations start to take a little bit of control over their content. Now we get into the 1900s, we start to go digital, radio, television, satellite. The key here, the big difference is not only corporations establishing more control, but you can now record, broadcast, and replay in a variety of formats for really the first time. And as we get into the later part of that century, information starts to become more and more available, of course, the internet. So where do we go from here? We're in the 2000s. Of course, we go internet, but we go more than internet. We are really at a culmination that's been happening for 300 years. To the point now where a tremendous amount of information is available at your fingertips.